Hello, creative travelers, and welcome to Yoga for the Mind. Today is all about finding calm in the chaos. So if you're currently experiencing a bit of a roughly chaotic life, this is the perfect opportunity to spend some time with me to do a tiny little art practice that doesn't last more than 15 minutes, to find some presence, to find some calm, and have some fun. For mediums, you can use anything that you enjoy. Remember, this art practice is here for the practice itself. It is not about the outcome. And so I highly encourage you to choose the mediums that bring you the most joy to use in the process itself. I will be using watercolor and I'll be using an ink pen. And if you wonder exactly what kind of mediums and things that I'm using, I will list it in the description below. And yeah, I think that's it. So let's go have some fun. Let's ease our minds. Let's find a bit of presence together. I invite you to clean up your space a little bit before we get started. Make yourself comfortable, make yourself cozy, get a cup of tea, a cup of coffee, light a candle. These minutes are for you. And if you clicked on this video because you're having a busy week or a busy day, it's important that we acknowledge that we are allowed to give ourselves this time to slow down a little bit. So get comfortable and let's get started. If you've been in before, you know that I'm a big fan of deep belly breathing. Just to center ourselves a little bit, to really tune into that presence, to allow ourselves to calm down, to breathe a little deeper. So take your right hand, put it on your heart. Take your left hand, put it on your belly. The way this works is I'm going to breathe in for 4 seconds, then I'm going to hold it for 2, and then I'm going to breathe out for 6. So I'm going to do this in quiet right now, and whilst I stand here looking like a whimsical human being with my eyes closed, I invite you to do the same. So 4 seconds in, hold for 2, breathe out for 6. 3 times. Let's go. And then we just naturally and peacefully let our breathing go back to normal, which is hard when you're talking. Take a few more deep breaths and just feel that comfortable sense of peace that comes along with breathing properly, because I think that when we're stressed, when we're hustling, when things are just going on after another, our breathing really just starts going into our chest and we start breathing so shallowly. And then just these few moments where we breathe truly deeply and reconnect with ourselves and reconnect with how we're actually feeling, it does wonders. Okay, you ready to paint? Let's do that. Now, since it's all about finding calm in the chaos today, I think it's important that we start out with acknowledging the chaos first. We're not going to try to suppress anything that we're feeling here. We're not going to try to push away our either frustration or our stress or uncomfortable feelings. That's not what this is about. We are going to acknowledge the hustly stuff that needs to be done, but then hopefully through the little practice we can invite in a bit more calm. So now I invite you to find either your ink pen or find your marker or a colored pencil, anything that you'd like to be using, and we're going to start with making a couple of shapes. Now, these shapes will be representing the stress. This will be representing the chaos and the uncomfortable, hustly stuff that is going on. So take your whatever pen or pencil you're using, and we're going to start thinking about shapes. So I'm a little bit stressed. I have a lot going on. I have a lot of things I need to remember, I need to get done. And for me, it feels like a very staggery, pointy, needly thing in my chest and in my brain. Right now, I'm just trying to go within and see how this hustly and stressful feeling actually feels like if I were to see it in shapes. And so for me, it looks something like this. Like there's no shape or harmony to it. It's just these weird pointy things that make me highly uncomfortable, that I just kind of, you know, they just point and like poke at me in all the places in my brain that I don't want them to, because it just makes me more stressed and more overwhelmed. So my first shape is this corner here with these weird squiggly pointy things. And so the only thing that we're going to start out here with is filling our page with as many pointy, wobbly, crooked, weird lines and shapes that represent our stress and our chaos as well as possible. So for me, it looks pointy. To you, it might look like waves or round or squiggly lines, or just maybe a whole bunch of one line that's like covering the entire page. Like chaos and stress looks different for anyone. So I invite you here to just take a moment, to take a breath, look within, feel within. What does your stress and chaos feel like to you if you were to put it in shapes? And then we're just going to cover our page with that. So I'm going to keep on doing this, and you do yours, and then we will find each other again in a moment. I realize now, though, that I managed to choose an ink pen that is basically done. There's no ink left, but that doesn't matter. You can also go over it a couple of times, just really like feel your stress and your hustly feelings. Just feel them in your hands, feel them in the lines that you're making. This is your permission to let it out. We're no longer keeping it inside our chest or inside our minds. We are now bringing the stress outside of ourselves so that we can find more peace within. No, I definitely need another ink pen. I should have thought this through. I found another one. Let's see if it works. Oh, that works way better. Yay. So just go over your squiggly, wiggly, round, sharp, pointy, annoying shapes. Just fill it in. Go over it several times. Just get all those feelings that you don't want to carry. Those overwhelmed thoughts, just let them out through weird shapes. It might just even be a box. Maybe you feel a little bit boxed in with all your to-dos. All the things you think you need to be doing. But right now, you're here with me. And so this time is all about you finding peace in the moment and allowing yourself to see that, hey, today is a stressful day, or now is a stressful week. But it's okay, I can get through it. If you feel like it, push a little bit hard on your pen tip. Sometimes it helps to just feel the energy go out of you. That looks like a face, actually. It's fun to see what kind of shapes you can come up with when you don't think about what kind of shape you want. This looks like a weird face. And I'm just really acknowledging that, you know what, I'm stressed. But I'm also allowing these weird wonky shapes that also honestly makes me laugh. And laughing is a wonderful medicine to stress and overwhelm. So if you laugh a little bit at your shapes, good for you. We want that. We invite that in too. There we go. And don't make it too detailed, remember, we're just going to be here for a couple of minutes. And the more you draw, the more you have to fill in. And then we might get more stressed, which is not the point of this little practice right here. So when you feel like you've gotten like an adequate amount of weird shapes in, we can start thinking about what kind of colors we want to use in a moment. So whilst you're still maybe drawing over your lines a bit more, start thinking about what colors soothe you? What are your favorite colors that you love looking at, or that just, you know, brighten you up when you see them? What are those colors? Choose, I would say, three or four of them. If that, you can also choose 2. But choose colors that really just give you a good feeling, because now that we've kind of drawn out the frustration and the stress and all the things that we don't want to be thinking about, it's time to invite in some more good feelings. Invite in some calm and some peace. There we go. And if you feel like your drawing, whatever this is, looks very much like a child's painting or a child's work, great. That's what we're aiming for here. We're aiming for connecting with our inner child, because now we are creating art to express ourselves and to invite in more emotionally healthy feelings, feel a little bit more grounded. And the only way to do that is acknowledge and let out the inner child in us, who is the stressful one here. Because inner children aren't always that good at navigating situations, feelings. You know, that's something we are supposed to be taught throughout our childhood. We are not taught most of what would actually be helpful in our adult lives. So, okay, I got my weird squiggly lines. Let's start adding in some color. Let's pick some colors. I'm gonna go with brown. I think this is burnt sienna. No, what's the other sienna? There is another sienna. I just can't remember its name. But this warm brown sienna, because to me it always represents being grounded, being calm. It just warms me when I see it. So I'm adding a bit of that. And then I'm taking a little bit of some warm green. Putting that there. Let's see. Making sure that I'm in shot here so that you can see what I'm doing. But yeah, I'm just picking up. I think this is, I never remember the names when I just see them off the bat, but I think I'm working with a forest sap green. I think this is sap green that I'm currently working with. So I got a brown and I got sap green, and I'm going to be adding some yellow to that, and those will be my colors for today. Maybe I will be adding in some white as well, just if I want a bit more nuance. Once you have your colors, wait, I'll show you, because I see now that things are out of shot. These are the colors that I've chosen. This is a dark brown, or like a warm dark brown. This is my sap green, and I've got like my ochre yellow, brownish ochre yellow that I'll be using. So now I want you to choose the color that grounds you the most, that feels the most delightful, warm, just makes you feel good. For me, that is the brown. And I will start looking at the biggest shapes, the most open, big shapes that I have here. And the only thing I'm going to be doing is start filling in my color. Now, like I said, you can be using acrylics for this. You can even use colored pencils. It doesn't even have to be paint. We're just going to be filling in with our grounding color. Just going to add that in there. And just try, if you can, to visualize that the warmth you see on the page try to look at it as the warmth that you allow into your heart, into your mind. Just let it fill you, if you can. I think color is very underrated when it comes to having a soothing, peaceful effect. Of course, it depends on the color, but there we go. I also think it's worth noting that, have you noticed how color is used so much in manipulating us? Now that sounds very happy, like it can be, but the point is that it can manipulate us in both positive and negative ways. So through every advertisement and movies, you know, it just sets the mood. It affects our brain, whether we want it or not. If something is really cool and dark and has lack of color, has lack of warmth, it's immediately more of a depressing or like a tension, stressful situation, versus when everything is very warm and golden and colorful, we associate that with positive things and positive things happening. And so I think that's worth keeping in mind when we paint as well. I definitely notice it with myself when I paint or when I start a new bigger piece. I always choose color that give me positive feeling. I paint because I want to bring myself hope. I want my paintings to, both the painting process and the painting itself, to be a reminder of how beautiful life can be. And that's not to say like, oh, my paintings are so beautiful, but more like, because I find colors so beautiful. The colors, and kind of like having the honor of being able to use them in my art, is to me an amazing reminder of how beautiful life can be. And so next time you paint, or for example now, we can almost trick our brains into feeling better because we are using colors that soothe us, that ground us, that warm us. And that's why I asked you to find colors that have like a calming effect on you, because as you paint with these colors, you will most likely feel calmer because of it. I'm filling in my weird bird head shape face here, whatever that is. And so we're just, we're still just using our grounding color and taking big shapes and filling it in. And the only thing I can highly recommend for you to do is being aware of your actions. Meaning, when you dip your paintbrush in the water, or dip your paintbrush in the paint, and when you apply it on the page, just feel the brush flowing over the page. Listen to the sound of the brush on the paper. Like, make it a sensory experience for you. The act of painting. This is not about creating a painting that we want to hang on our walls. This is just about us using art as a way to calm ourselves during busy days and a busy life. So I have quite a bit of brown in here now. Now I'll be moving on to my green color, which green to me is like a really happy grounding color. Like, the brown is just grounding. It makes me feel calm when I look at it. And now I choose one of my 3 colors that just also sprinkle in a bit of happiness. That, this sap green, it reminds me of warm summer days and the favorite trees in my garden that make me so joyful during summer when I get to see them bloom. Or just grass. I love grass. Vibrant green grass is always such a joy to see that pop up after a long winter. And so now I'm using my happy grounding green color to fill in more shapes. And I'm listening to the sound of my brush. And I try to just be very in the moment when I apply my paint, filling in my shapes. And maybe you can remember to take a couple of deep breaths, because when life asks for your attention again in a couple of minutes, we tend to forget to breathe deeply. So now is your opportunity to do that. Invite in some deep breaths. Tell yourself, hey, I am safe. I am okay. Things are okay. Maybe you can even sprinkle in a bit of gratitude for the good stuff. Maybe you are stressed for positive reasons. And just picture, if you can, you know, remember that the shapes that we have, the shapes are our, what should I say, frustration. The shapes represent our stress. And so as you fill in your frustrated and hustly bustly shapes, try to visualize that you are calming down, like you're taking off the edge. Taking off the edge of your stressly, hustly bustly feelings. You're filling them with color that soothes you and that makes you happy and that calms you. That's all you're doing right now. As you can see, I've added in a bit of white into my paint just to get a little bit more nuance. But I'm still just working with 3 colors here. I just add, you can either add a bit of white to lighten everything up, or you can add a little bit of gray or a bit of black to darken everything so that it becomes a bit more interesting and fun to play around with. Now I'm on to my last color, which is my ochre yellow. So I'm just going to start with I choose ochre yellow because that to me is like, has the comforting, warm effect or like grounding effect of the brown, but it adds that, how should I call it? It adds that little extra joy. Like yellow, I associate it with warm summer days again. Obviously, as you can tell, I like warm summer days. It reminds me of autumn sunshine through autumn leaves, which is it just sparkles, those colors of the leaves when they are in all these beautiful autumnal nuances of orange and yellow and brown and red. And then in addition to that, when you see autumn sunlight backlit, oh, it's just the most magnificent thing. And ochre yellow, oh, I like the sound of autumn yellow, but I mean ochre yellow reminds me of that. So that's why I'm like, as a cherry on top, after having used my grounding color, then my happy warm color, I'm now adding my little golden magical yellow color. And just like that, I'm just adding story. I'm adding meaning behind the colors that I use so that the art practice itself becomes more meaningful and more soothing to me. We're just not, you know, it's easy. I think a lot of people can look at this and say, oh my goodness, this is just a child's crap, you know? I'm saying that because I think I had that, to be honest. I used to look at this kind of art as like, what kind of art is this? But as I've grown older and as I've seen and understood the power of art and how you can use it to actually heal and ground and find good things in life, I find this the best kind of art. Just because it's so pressure-free, everyone can do it. No skills are needed. And you can literally change and reconnect and heal and grow emotionally by doing it. And it's cheap. It's cheap. Like you can just, like, I know that I use kind of fancy paint here, but that's just because I like painting in general. But you can buy the cheapest of paints and still do this and still have a soothing and lovely result. Here we go. Might add in a little bit of white. And then we are nearing the end of our little session here. And I have ended up with a funky little, funky little colorful painting filled with colors that soothe me. I have gotten my stress and my hustly, bustly, negative, overwhelming thoughts, I've gotten them down on paper. And I don't know about you, but I feel pretty good right now. I feel pretty darn good. There we go. There we go. Now look at that. Now, let's see. This is my little result for, wait, we need some better lighting. Give me a second here. Here's my little stressful, hustly, bustly sheet of paper with my weird shapes. It looks like a child has made it, which makes me love it even more because it feels like I've reconnected with just some inner child fun. whilst also processing some stressy feelings. And I got to play around with my favorite colors because ironically, yes, these are like really soothing, grounding colors to me. These ones. But they're also my favorite colors. So anyway, that's a little practice for today. I hope you enjoyed it. I'd love to know, however, what do you do when you are like really stressed and things are just chaos? Do you have any fun little practices or things that you do to reconnect with the present and reconnect with calm? Please share it in the comments, because then maybe other people can benefit from it as well. And yeah, if you'd like, we have a very lovely, welcoming, creative Discord community where we chat about all things creativity, food, life, all the things that bring us joy. The link is in the description. And yeah, I think that is it. I see you again next time. Thank you for joining me today.